I want you to try something with me for a moment. Imagine you have a jar. In that jar, for 1,000 coins. Each coin represents 1 week of your life. Assuming you live to 80, which is roughly the American average. Every Monday morning, you reach into the jar and take out 1 coin. You can't save it. You can't borrow from next week. You absolutely cannot earn more. You just spend it on whatever that week holds. And then it's gone. Now here's the question I want you to sit with. If you're 30 years old right now, you've already taken out roughly 1,560 coins. If you're 40, it's closer to 2,080. If you're 50, you have somewhere around 1,560 left. Look at what remains in the jar. How does it feel to see it? Oliver Burkeman wrote a book called 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. And the central argument of that book is one of the most honest things written about time in the last 20 years. You are not going to get everything done. You will never clear your inbox. You will never reach the point where everything important has been addressed, and you can finally begin living the life you meant to live. That point does not exist. And the sooner you stop organizing your time around the assumption that it does, the sooner you can begin actually using what you have. Most people hear something like this and feel a kind of urgency, the 20-minute version. For 20 minutes they're clear. Life is short. I should use it better. And then something pings, something else demands attention, and they go right back to whatever they were doing before. The 20-minute feeling is not the problem. The problem is that it doesn't connect to anything that changes behavior the next morning. The Stoics built a daily practice specifically for this. Not a philosophy about time, a practice. Something you do every day, before the pings start, that keeps the awareness of finitude connected to the specific choices you make about how to spend your hours. They called it Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. And they did not mean it as a dark thought. They meant it as the clearest possible lens through which to see what actually matters. This video is about that. Practice. What it is. Where it came from. Why it works when 20-minute urgency doesn't. And what it looks like to actually build it into a life that feels like yours. Let's go. Part 1. The modern problem. The productivity trap. Why the more you try to optimize time, the less of it you seem to have. Before we get to the Stoic practice, I want to spend a few minutes with the problem. Because if you're like most people I talk to about this topic, you've already tried to fix your relationship with time. You've read the productivity books. You've tried the systems. You've had periods of genuine discipline. The mornings where you were up early, the evenings where you reviewed your day, the weeks where the important things actually got done. And yet here you are, watching a video about time, which probably means the problem hasn't been solved. Burkeman's diagnosis of why is the most accurate I've encountered. If the physical jar feels impractical, the modern version of this same practice exists on your phone. There are apps, one simply called Stoic, that display a Memento Mori widget, a calendar set to your 80th birthday, with each week marked. You watch it. Every day, the week's moving is the practice. Marcus Aurelius used a wax tablet. You have a lock screen. The medium is different. The reckoning is the same. He says the problem is not that we're bad at time management. The problem is that most time management operates on a false premise, that the goal is to do everything, to clear the list, to empty the inbox, to get through all of it, and that the right system will eventually get you there. But the math doesn't work. Every time you get more efficient, more things fill the space. Every time you clear the inbox, more emails arrive. Every promotion that gives you more influence also gives you more demands on your attention. Every system that makes you more productive also raises expectations, yours and everyone else's, about what you should be able to accomplish. Burkeman writes, the more efficient you get, the more you get done, the more you get asked to do. This is not a failure of discipline. It is a structural feature of modern life. And the solution, if there is one, is not a better system. It is a different relationship to finitude itself. Here's what I mean by that. The productivity trap operates on the assumption that time is a resource to be managed, and that with the right management, you can eventually have enough of it. But time is not a resource in that sense. It is the medium in which your life occurs. You don't have time. You are time. And the experience of constantly feeling like you don't have enough of it, the specific, chronic American feeling of time scarcity, is, according to both Burkeman and the Stoics, primarily a product of refusing to accept that it is finite. Because if you accepted the finitude completely, If you genuinely believed, in your body, not just in your head, that the jar has 4,000 coins and you've already spent many of them, you would not spend your days trying to do everything. You would spend them choosing. The productivity trap is what happens when you try to avoid choosing. It is the attempt to do everything so that you never have to accept that choosing one thing means not choosing another. But the math is relentless. Every yes is a no to something else. Every week you spend on one thing is a week you don't spend on another. The Stoics did not try to escape this math. They built a philosophy around it. And here is the thing that makes this more than just a philosophical point. The research on what people regret at the end of their lives is consistent across culture, across era, across economic circumstance. People almost never regret the things they chose. They regret the things they didn't choose, the relationships they let drift, the work they didn't begin, the experiences they deferred until the timing was right, which, as it turned out, never became right. They regret, in other words, the failure to accept that choosing requires giving something up, and the years spent trying to avoid that trade-off. The Stoic practice of Memento Mori is not about making you feel the urgency of your remaining coins. It is about making you clear enough about what matters that you choose deliberately, every morning, before the pings start. Part 2. The Stoic Philosophy of Finitude. What the Stoics actually believed about time, and why it's not what most people think. The Stoics thought about time more carefully than almost any other philosophical tradition, not because they were obsessed with death, though they did write about it extensively, but because they understood something fundamental about the relationship between mortality and choice. You cannot make a meaningful choice without accepting that choosing one thing means not choosing another. And you cannot accept that trade-off fully until you accept that your time is limited. The philosopher who thought hardest about this, and who wrote about it most practically, was Seneca, and his essay on the subject is, I think, the single most useful piece of writing about time ever produced. Seneca and De Brevitate Vitae. Sometime in the early 50s AD, scholars place it around 49 AD, Seneca wrote an essay called De Brevitate Vitae on the shortness of life. He wrote it for his father-in-law, Paulinus, who was apparently a very busy man, consumed by administrative work, constantly occupied, perpetually behind. The essay opens with a line that stops most people the first time they read it. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a great deal of it. Read that again. Not, life is short. That's what everyone says. But, life is actually long enough if we stopped wasting it. This is Seneca's central provocation, and it is more demanding than it sounds. Because he is not saying, be more productive, be more efficient, optimize your morning routine. He is saying something more specific and more uncomfortable than that. Most people, most of the time, are not actually living their lives. They are doing things that feel urgent. They are responding to demands. They are occupied, busy, often genuinely tired. But they have handed the direction of their days to other people's priorities, to the inbox, to the demands of status, to the endless preparation for a future that never quite arrives. And then, at the end, they are surprised to find that time has run out. Seneca describes this with a specificity that is almost uncomfortable to read. Lay hold of today's task, and you will depend less upon tomorrow's. While we are postponing, life speeds by. Nothing is ours except time. Nothing is ours except time. In the Stoic framework, the dichotomy of control that we've talked about extensively on this channel, almost everything external is in the right column. Your reputation, the economy, what other people think and do. But Seneca adds one more item to the left column that most people overlook: time. Not the quantity of it, that is determined by forces beyond our control, but the direction of it, how it is spent, what it is given to, that is yours. And the practice of Memento Mori, which we'll get to, is specifically the practice of reconnecting to that ownership every single day before the external world begins its daily claim on your attention. Let me stay with Seneca a moment longer, because there is a passage in De Brevitate Vitae that I think is the most practically useful sentence in all of ancient philosophy about time. He writes, Omnia, Lucili, aliena sunt, tempus tantum nostrum est, everything is alien to us, Lucilius, time alone is ours. You may have heard this line before. It appears in letters to Lucilius as well. Seneca returned to it repeatedly, in different contexts, as if he couldn't say it enough. That repetition is itself the lesson. And then immediately after, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste so much of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested. But when it is wasted in heedless luxury and spent on no good activity, we are forced at last by death's final constraint to realize that it has passed away before we knew it was passing. Before we knew it was passing. That phrase is the entire problem. The weeks pass. The coins drop. And most of us don't notice until the jar is much lighter than we expected. Memento Mori, the Stoic practice, is the practice of noticing. Not once, when someone mentions it. Not during the 20-minute urgency feeling. Every day, before the day begins. Marcus Aurelius, practicing finitude under maximum pressure. Marcus Aurelius, who governed the Roman Empire for 20 years, who faced plague and war and political treachery and the deaths of children, returned to the theme of finitude in the Meditations more than any other single topic. Not because he was morbid, because he had learned, through the demands of his position, that without daily reconnection to the fact of his own mortality, he was in danger of spending his days on things that felt urgent but were not important. He writes in Book 4, "Soon you will have forgotten the world, and soon the world will have forgotten you." And in Book 9, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." These are not dark sentences. They are clarifying ones. What Marcus was doing, daily, was looking at the full picture of his life and asking, given that this is finite, given that I am not exempt from the same mortality as everyone I govern, what does today actually require of me? Not what is in my inbox, not what is most urgent, not what will make me look competent or impressive. What does today actually require? That question, asked from a place of genuine awareness of finitude, produces a completely different answer than the same question asked from the default assumption that there is always more time. Epictetus, Time and the Inner Citadel. Epictetus, who owned almost nothing and had no power over his own circumstances in the way Marcus did, arrived at the same insight from a completely different direction. He writes in Enchiridion chapter 1, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Applied to time, the wise person does not grieve the weeks already spent or the ones they will not have. They rejoice, or more precisely, they fully use the weeks that remain. They rejoice, or more precisely, they fully use the weeks that remain. And then he adds something that is the most practical sentence in the Epictetan corpus on this topic. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. First say to yourself what you would be. Not, what do you want to accomplish today? Not, what is on the list? What do you want to be? The kind of person, the quality of attention, relationship, work, presence that you want to bring to your remaining weeks. And then, from that clarity, do what you have to do. This is Memento Mori in its most practical form. Beginning each day from the clarity that your weeks are finite, and letting that clarity answer the question of who you want to be with them. Part 3. The Practice. 5 Stoic Tools for Radical Time Ownership. 5 tools. These come directly from the Stoic texts, from Seneca's essays and letters, from the Meditations, from the discourses of Epictetus. I'm calling this framework Radical Time Ownership because it is not about managing time more efficiently. It is about owning the direction of your time in a way that most people have delegated to other people's priorities. Each tool addresses a different layer of the problem. Tool 1. The Morning Memento. The first tool is the most important because it sets the tone for everything that follows. Marcus Aurelius began every day with what I call the Morning Memento. He describes it in Book 2 of the Meditations. Begin the morning by saying to thyself, I shall meet with meddling, ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, uncharitable men today. But I have seen the beauty of good, and I will not be diminished by what I encounter. Notice what he is doing. He is beginning the day by acknowledging reality, not optimistically, not pessimistically, but clearly. The Morning Memento adapted for time ownership adds one specific element to Marcus's practice, the acknowledgement that this day is one of a finite number. Here is what the Morning Memento looks like in practice, before your phone, before email, before anything that pulls your attention outward. 3 sentences, said internally or written. I have a finite number of weeks. This is one of them. What does it require of me to spend it well? That's it. Not a goal-setting exercise. Not a productivity ritual. 3 sentences that reconnect you to the truth that Burkeman and Seneca both point toward. This week is one of 4,000. It is already passing. How do you want to spend it? Most people, if they do any morning practice at all, spend it planning what to do. The Morning Memento spends it first on who to be, and then the planning flows from that, with a completely different quality of attention. Here is the specific version I recommend, drawn from Seneca's practice into Brevitate Vitae. Before you look at your phone in the morning, or at minimum, before you look at your email, ask yourself 3 questions. Question 1. What would make this week well spent if I looked back on it on Sunday evening? Not productive, not impressive, well spent. The distinction matters. Question 2. What am I deferring that I know matters, and why? This is the Seneca question. He was specifically frustrated by people who perpetually deferred the important in favor of the urgent. The morning is the moment to name the deferral, before the day provides its usual justifications for continuing it. Question 3. Who deserves my full presence today, and am I likely to give it to them? Seneca writes that we are generous with everything except time. We give money, attention, words, but we guard our time jealously from the people who matter most and give it freely to demands that matter least. 3 questions. 5 minutes. Before the external world starts its daily claim. That is the Morning Memento. Tool 2. The Finite List. The second tool addresses the productivity trap directly. Burkeman writes about something he calls the closed list, a list that has a fixed number of items and cannot grow. The Stoics had a version of this that is even more specific. Seneca writes, Nusquam est que ubique est. He who is everywhere is nowhere. Applied to the to-do list, the person who is attempting everything is accomplishing nothing meaningful. The finite list practice is this. Each morning, after the morning memento, you write down, not everything you could or should do, but 3 things. Not 10, not 5, 3. 3 things that, if done well today, would make this a day worth its coin. One of those 3 must be connected to what Marcus Aurelius called the important, not the urgent, not the deadline that someone else set, but the thing that you know, in the quiet of the morning, actually matters for the life you are trying to build. The Stoics made this distinction constantly, between things that feel pressing and things that are genuinely important. The inbox is almost always pressing and almost never important. The relationship, the work that requires sustained attention, the conversation you've been avoiding but know you need to have. These are almost always important and almost never feel urgent until they become crises. The finite list is the practice of protecting the important from the tyranny of the urgent. 3 things. One of them the important one. Every day, not a complete solution, but the beginning of one. Tool 3. The weekly coin review. The third tool comes from Seneca's evening practice, which he describes into Iro, on Anger, Book 3, Chapter 36. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said. I hide nothing from myself. I omit nothing. He did this every evening. The Stoic inventory of the day. The weekly coin review adapts this to the week, done on Sunday evening, before the next week begins. It has 4 parts. Part 1. How was this week's coin spent? Not judged, observed. Where did the time actually go? Not where you intended it to go, where it actually went. Part 2. Was any of it spent well? What happened this week that you would choose again if you could? A conversation that mattered. Work that used your full attention. Time with someone you love. Part 3. What was deferred again? What appeared on last week's intention and was not done? Is the reason for the deferral real, or is it the comfortable avoidance of something that matters? Part 4. What does next week's coin require? Not demand, not pressure. Require. The way a thing you genuinely care about requires attention and time and presence. For parts. 20 minutes on Sunday evening. Seneca did a version of this every night for decades. He wrote that the practice changed what he did the next day, not by making him feel guilty about the previous one, but by making the pattern visible. We repeat what we don't examine. The weekly coin review is the practice of examination. Tool 4. Voluntary Limitation. The The fourth tool is the most counterintuitive in the entire framework. Seneca prescribes something that sounds like bad advice for a productivity-oriented culture. He recommends doing less, deliberately, intentionally, as a practice. He writes in Letter 2, "Be careful to limit your reading to a definite number of authors rather than ranging through many. Distraction of interests, even in reading, is the enemy. Those who are everywhere are nowhere." He is not talking about laziness. He is talking about the specific discipline of depth over breadth. The productivity trap produces breadth. More projects, more connections, more commitments, more outputs. The Stoic practice produces depth. Fewer things, more fully done, more completely experienced. Burkeman calls this settling, the choice to commit fully to one path rather than keeping all options open. He argues that the refusal to settle is itself a kind of temporal cowardice, the attempt to avoid the loss that every real choice involves. The Stoics would call it something different. They would call it wisdom. Voluntary limitation in practice looks like this. Pick one area of your life where you are currently spread too thin, too many projects, too many social obligations, too many open loops, and deliberately reduce it by one, not by force, not because circumstances required it, as a deliberate Stoic practice of choosing depth over breadth. Notice what happens to the quality of your attention in the areas that remain. Tool 5, the Amor Fati of Time. The fifth tool is the one that makes the entire framework sustainable, and the one that most people leave out. Burkeman writes about what he calls the completeness of the past, the idea that every moment that has passed is, in a sense, permanent. It happened. It is real. It cannot be taken back or undone. The Stoic version of this is Amor Fati, love of fate, love of what has been, applied to time. It means this: the weeks you have already spent, even the ones you wish you'd spent differently, even the years that felt wasted, even the time that went to things that turned out not to matter, those weeks are yours. They made you, who you are sitting here right now. They cannot be taken back. They are permanent, and permanence is a form of stability. Marcus Aurelius writes, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, and do so with all your heart." The Amor Fati of Time says, accept the weeks you've already spent. Don't spend the remaining weeks grieving the ones that are gone. This sounds simple. It is not easy. Many people carry a substantial amount of regret about time spent, on careers that didn't pan out, on relationships that ended, on years that passed in a fog. The Stoic practice asks something specific of that regret. Let it inform your choices going forward. Let it answer the morning question, what does this week require? With the authority of someone who has seen what it costs to spend time in ways that don't align with what you actually value. But do not let it consume the remaining coins. The past is complete. It is permanent. And permanent means it cannot be taken from you. What can be taken from you? What is being taken, one coin at a time, is the future. Use it accordingly. Part 4. What this looks like in a week. Putting the 5 tools together, Monday through Sunday. Let me bring this into a specific week. Not a perfect week. A regular one, with meetings and obligations, and the usual number of things that don't go as planned. Here is what the Stoic framework for 4,000 weeks looks like inside a real week. Monday morning, before your phone. 3 sentences. I have a finite number of weeks. This is one of them. What does it require of me? Then the finite list. 3 things. One of them the important one. This takes 5 minutes. You will resist it on the mornings when you feel most behind, which is exactly when it matters most. During the week, when you feel the familiar urgency, the inbox, the slack, the sense that you're behind, pause for one breath and ask, is what I'm about to do connected to any of my 3 things? If yes, do it with full attention. If no, finish what you're doing and then return to the list. This is not rigid productivity. It is Seneca's principle of direction, knowing where you are going so that when the wind shifts, you can assess whether to adjust course or hold it. He writes, when a man does not know what harbor he is making for, no wind is the right wind. The 3 things are your harbor. Everything else is wind. Sunday evening, 20 minutes. The weekly coin review. Where did this week's coin actually go? Was any of it spent in a way I'd choose again? What was deferred? And is the reason real or comfortable? What does next week's coin require? Do not make this a self-criticism session. Seneca was clear. The inventory is observational, not punitive. You are gathering data about your own patterns, so you can choose more deliberately next week. Over time, over months of Sunday evenings, you will develop a genuinely different relationship to your weeks. Not because you've optimized them, because you've been paying attention to them. One practice, any day, beyond the weekly structure. There's one practice that works any day, at any point in the week. Take the coin literally. Find a jar. Put 4,000 pennies in it. Every Monday morning, take one out. Put it somewhere visible, your desk, your windowsill. Look at it during the day. This is not a gimmick. It is the physical version of what the Stoics called Memento Mori, the tangible reminder that makes the abstract real. Burkeman suggests something similar. A jar with weeks remaining as marbles, moved one at a time. The practice works because the mind responds to physical objects in a way it does not respond to abstract knowledge. You know your time is limited. You have known this for years. Watching the jar empty is different from knowing the jar empties. It is the difference between thinking about mortality and feeling it. And feeling it is what changes behavior. I want to end with Seneca, not with a quote about productivity or time management or the urgency of the finite. With the end of the essay he wrote to Paulinus, the essay he wrote not as a philosopher making an argument, but as a friend who genuinely wanted the person he was writing to use what remained. He writes, Vindica tibi. Reclaim yourself for yourself. The entire point of Brevitate Vitae in 3 words. Not be more productive. Not optimize. Not achieve more before you die. Reclaim yourself for yourself. The hours that are going to everyone else's urgencies, reclaim some of them. The weeks going to the preparation for a future that keeps receding, reclaim some of them. The attention you're giving to things that feel important in the moment, but that you know, in the morning quiet, are not what you would choose if you were choosing deliberately, reclaim it. This is not a call to selfishness. Seneca was clear about that. Time given to genuine relationships, to meaningful work, to the people and projects that matter to you, is time well spent. It is not what he is asking you to reclaim. He is asking you to reclaim the time that isn't going to any of those things. The time going to the scroll, to the performance of busyness, to the deferred important thing, to the comfortable avoidance of what you know needs your attention. That time, reclaim it. Not all at once. Not through a perfect morning routine or a new system or a productivity upgrade. One morning, one 3-question practice, one finite list, one coin taken consciously from the jar and spent on something that actually matters. And then again the next morning, and the one after that. Burkeman is right that you will never get everything done. Seneca is right that life is long enough if you stop waiting to begin it. Marcus is right that the question is not how do I have more time, but what kind of person do I want to be with the time I have? The jar has a number in it. You don't know the exact number. None of us do, but it is finite, and finite, genuinely accepted, genuinely felt, is one of the most clarifying things a human being can know about themselves. 5 tools, quickly. The Morning Memento, 3 sentences before your phone. 3 questions to start from clarity rather than urgency. The Finite List, 3 things, not 10. One of them the important one. Every day. The Weekly Coin Review, 20 minutes on Sunday evening. Observation, not judgment. Pattern recognition over time. Voluntary Limitation, choose depth over breadth in one area. This week, deliberately, as a practice. The Amor Fati of Time, let the weeks already spent be what they were. Direct the remaining ones with the authority of someone who knows what it costs to spend them unconsciously. The next video in this series addresses something closely related. What happens when you add the specific pressure of AI disruption to the already finite nature of time? If you're navigating both the finitude we've discussed today and the professional uncertainty of the current moment, that video is for you. Subscribe if you want to be there. And leave a comment. How many coins do you have left? And what's the one thing you know you've been deferring that this week is asking you to begin? I'll read every one. I'll see you in the next one.